Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Mind Over Matter open mic. For those of you that are with Mind Over Matter for the first time, we are a collective that aims to discuss mental health through spoken word, poetry, hip hop, rap, song, and just generally self-expression. We organize different events around London, open mics. We also have workshops.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Mind Over Matter
feedback. We also organize workshops. We have something called the Connect workshop, which is a psychotherapeutic writing workshop every Monday at 7 p.m. And I'm Anna Sinsky. I'm your host for today. I'm a poet, spoken word artist, but I'm also an integrative therapist, and I am the Mind Over Matter workshop facilitator and co-host for events. So today we have 16 really talented poets for you guys. So it's going to be an amazing night. And first up, we have Fisky, the founder of Mind Over Matter, with a little sacrificial poem just to start off the whole open mic. Fisky? You need to unmute yourself.
Okay. Am I pinned? Am I pinned to the screen? I'm not, am I?
For me.
There we go. Okay, sorry about that. A little bit of a technical issue. But yes, I'm going to do a poem. I'm going to have to stand up for it because it's quite an energetic poem. Can I stand up? This will do. All right, it's called Quilling Time in Quarantine, and it is a reverse alphabet poem. And I hope you enjoy it. Zoom zone, zero, zil, zip, zilch, zealous, zealots, zestless. Let's move on, Zed's dead. Zul, Zelda and Zorro yelling YOLO. Yesteryear's yawn yields, yearly yardsticks yo-yo. Yearsayers yakking, yucking, year-long yin-yang yodeling. Exile, Xerox xenophobes, words written while worlds waiting wings, whispers on whims, worries wretched weight wavers when worse smithery weaponized, walls watch while we war. Warriors warrant worth, but wraths weaken when will welcomes wonder. Victories visible, viewers versus vessels of virtual voyages, unified under universal usernames. Understand, upgrades aren't of utmost urgency. Utopia utensils useless, unsee ubiquity of the unsung. Trapped in technology, traipsing through theatres of therapy, taking temporary tenancy in terrible territory, time tastes tepid. Timid types typing, tangling with temperamental Twitter trolls. Tips turn to tolls. Ticket towels touting toilet rolls. Tombs tied to thoughtless threads. Tonight's thoughts translate tomorrow's tongue. Temptation too much. Tempest tear towards tornadoes of touch. Stop. Stay still. Selfish sun searchers systematically spread symptoms, severing sensible. Sense suffers. Stupidity soars, silly sods. Stand in solidarity with submission, sincerity submerged in symbolism, sadness simmers in solitude, soldiers singing songs of service, surprise shouldn't surge when sobriety suffers. Staying safe sometimes seems sacrificial, streets scattered with sweeping statements, society silent, so search for storytellers, sages, songwriters, scholars, rappers, rhyming, riding rhythm rapids. Restless renegades receive restriction resulting in remorse, recuperate, rest, reset, reconnect, recollect, reword, regret, reflect, resist, reject, repeat. A redefining reality retreat. Quarantine questions quietness, quilling quietly quadruples quality, query qualities qualified by quintessential quips, cues for quavers became quests. Past proverbs prove pandemic presidents persecute populations, paper praise parallel parked, perhaps a percent of pencils perform, no prerequisite passport for passengers of passion, phony powers policing poetry please, online open mics offer oneness, ornaments of obligation overwhelm, obey a clock, omnipresent orchestras of opulence orchestrate objectives offering nothing neurologically nutritious. Normalize never, new normal needed, negotiating never-ending Netflix nights, nonsense nonchalant, so nostalgia necessary, naturally numerous numbskulls and nothing notable, nameless newsreaders narrated nightmares note. Materialism minus material means, man-made madmen move molehills into mountains, meditate on melodies of mayhem, miss my mates, missing lady love, lockdown life, loneliness lingers, lacing lethargy, lampposts lighting lost landscapes, legends look like liars, leaders lacking leadership, leading us, leaving us limited, like minds lesson, when lifelines leveled, I levitate levels, listen. Knock, knock, knowledge knocking, kindred kinships keep kingdoms in knapsacks, kamikaze keyboard killers, karmic kidnappings, keeping juggernauts jelly-like, journalistic jibber-jabber, jeopardizing judgment, jargon jotted in jaded journals, juries judging, juggling duelists, janitors of junkyard justice. Just imagine idolizing irrelevant icons. Idols ignite idle ideals. Immortal intellectuals illuminate imagination. Introverted inmates imprisoned in ink, inching inwards and citing eternal illustrations. Isolation is separable in I. Hashtag home life. Habits hibernate in habitual habitats. Hell has hostile hospitals. I hope heaven's hospitable. Goodbye groceries. Granary gladiators got greedy, grappling with granola gangsters. Global Groundhog Day. Government guidelines, ghosts written by guilt. Gigabytes of goodwill gestures given. Gunshots still go off. Gotta gain goals, gang, go get gone. Galaxies and gardens growing grassroots. Freedom forfeited for foreseeable future. Financial framework fucked. Frontline fighting fatal, functioning fallacies, face forever's fever, faceless fatalities, fictional figures forging fallout, free of us, forests flourish, earth exhales, existing, exiting extinction, egos eclipsed, eulogies and epitaphs etched early, employee empathy extinct, economy over everyone expect expense, empty entries and dystopia diaries, docile demigods deteriorate, disciples disperse, days disappear, decisions draped in doubt, scarred dawns drown in darkness, debt doesn't die. Capitalism's crap, can't continue because Corona came calling, causing consumer collapse. Conspiracies completely cover clarity. The NHS became a charity. Cases climbing, Carefree's corpse causes callous, closed caskets, capturing this, clapping carers cool, but Boris better bring bigger benefits. Biological battlegrounds, breed burden, bedroom bulletins, bare blessings, boudoir bars bought by Bexy Becks. Boundless breakdown, but breakdowns backdrop beautiful beginnings. Beyond beckons, bogus boogeymen babbling in bubbly bloodbaths, brainwashed by behest of behemoths. Before the aftermath of Adam's apple, an alcoholic architecture anchored in ancestral archetypes arrived alienated, alienation and an alien nation avoiding abhorrent apparitions, applauding anguish of angels. Addiction amplified as adult addicts adapt and ache at altars of altered awake. Anxiety announces apology as arenas of analogies analysed. Above all, any answer's adequate. At the moment, absolutely anything's ample. If archangels ask about me, tell them I'm nice. I pay the admission price. ABC's assassinated twice. Welcome to the alphabet afterlife.
Oh my God. Whoa, that is such an incredible poem. And I need to ask you a technical question. Were you reading that or did you actually memorize that?
No, I memorized it.
Oh,
I have to. Like, if you saw it, like I performed at Flow Vortex once, right? And if I read off my phone, I just start sweating and go red and I forget everything. I can't do it. So I have to, like, every time I perform, I have to know it inside out. Otherwise I can't.
Holy shit, like memorizing that must have taken like way longer than actually writing it.
Yeah, I did that 3 weeks.
Seriously. Whoa. Well, anyways, that was our Mind Over Matter founder, Fisky, with a little sacrificial poem just to warm up the open mic. So we can go ahead and start the open mic now. So just a reminder for any of you guys performing, please unmute yourself before your performance. So when I call up your name, if you can just unmute yourself, then state any trigger warnings, please, so that if that applies to anyone, then they can tune out for the duration of your poem if that is a sensitive topic for them. And yeah, it's up to 1 piece per person. So I think that's all you need to know. All right, so first up we have a workshop, Mind Over Matter workshop regular, Mickey. He's been attending the workshops for quite a few weeks now regularly, and the Mind Over Matter open mic that we normally have on Instagram Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So yeah, I really look forward to seeing what you have for us today, Mickey.
I really don't want to go after Fisky, but oh well. I'm really nervous because this is on Zoom, but I'm gonna be fine. So this piece I got from the Mind Over Matter workshops. Trigger warning: it is related to suicide in some of the lines, so just a heads up. This is called The Void plus Music. It's not fair. I found love, it made me say, now get back, you'll never see daylight if I'm not strong, it just might. I say those words as a way of entering, as it seamlessly opens and absorbs me in for the 100th time. No one stops me, and it's good they didn't. always boasting my emotions on how I'm so effing broken. Think I'm joking when I'm talking about blowing my head open. I use these words when I leave and get questioned on where I've been and why I should not have went, and contemplate it all ending just like that. Heaven's forbidden, but I'm going soon. Kiss me one last time before I take my breath away. I don't belong on Earth. I've never had or will. So I wait till my name gets called on the next heaven bus and wish for that final mother's mark. Fool me once, fool me twice. Are you there for paradise? Now you'll never see me cry. There's just no time to die. But you'll always say, I'm always there. But it's another empty promise to add to the list that never stops, but I will. And no one will ever see it happen. I've been living a lie. There's nothing inside. But once, the words I say to myself, I do know it's the truth, and no one can change it. I now bid farewell and float away to my real home, where I've known I always belong.
Thank you so much for sharing that piece with us, Mickey. Thank you. That must have been a very difficult one to share. I really liked hearing that again, because obviously I heard that during the workshop. So thank you so much for sharing with us. All right, next up on the open mic, we have someone that I have seen many, many times throughout different open mics in London, pre-pandemic times. I think especially I would always see him in Chocolate Poetry Club, if I remember correctly. And he always brings a lot of kind of like spiritual light and magic, if I can call it that. So welcome, Lantern Carrier.
Thank you. Thank you. You can hear? Oh, yes, that's correct. Well, I wrote a different piece today. Fiske mentions the new normal, and that happens to be the name of my piece. I wrote it yesterday and today. Trapped within an indoor world, somewhat like a matrix, fear and loneliness, my bosom friends. Stripped of all pretensions, I lay bare my heart, trying to unshackle my distress and insecurity. Forced to exist in a quarantine home, my material comforts have all but disappeared. In this new crucible of fire, there's neither mercy nor delight, only shadows. Gone are the hugs and kisses, the throbs of embrace, the peak emotions. No more those eyes of crimson red from late nights of party mode, nor are those legs weary from feet dancing way into the night. Instead, anxiety steals the brilliance of a mind now sodden with aloneness and despair. I lay naked in my bath, gaze entreatingly upwards, palms pleading in prayer to find purpose to my life. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My mate Frank had just ended it all, as did Sarah, his spouse. The scribbled and solemn note they left behind simply said, no money, no food, no friends, only isolation and darkness. Yet another variant comes round like spring, only there's a dearth of renewal, no scented roses of beauty, no tulips. I take my worn out mask, hanging just above my jacket rails, and head for the supermarket. The sky appears gray as I pause, breathe, remember, hands, face, space. I do my sanitized routine, put on my mask, take note of fellow humans on the street. I dare not unmask in crowded spaces. People avoid me as I reciprocate, but now they say thanks and continue on their way. I had my first AstraZeneca shot today. Big Pharma wins, but who cares? No one knows if the afterlife is better. So like little children, many of us do what we're told. Efficacy is 90%, they say. And so I hope, praying that the recent variance passes me by. I found a new friend, though, a Professor Zoom who takes money off my account. At least I have joined more poets, so I don't go crazy and I socialized quite well. It has been a lifesaver in so many interesting ways. Away from news of the distressing daily toll, the frontline problems, the inequities, scaremongering and contact tracing, I have embraced new international circles, freed myself from innuendos and conspiracy theories, even managing to exercise. Not bad. Now my only suffering is the lack of love. Wish I was a flute. You're the flute player of bewildering emotions, resonating a cascade of feelings in my soul. Alas, I walk a thorny path to get to you, stumbling on beds of nails, blood red in the core of my feelings. Come, my scented lavender, bring me the breeze of the joy of spring, so I can merrily waltz with you on this, your sweet lap of tomorrow's fragrant meadows. Lantern Carrier, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, that was really, really beautiful. I really love the balance of like kind of raising awareness of, you know, the dark sides and the dark thoughts kind of thing. And then also with some positives like the poetry community. And yeah, that kind of stuff. That was really, really beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, next up, we have a poet based in Dubai, as far as I remember. And I think that's the beautiful thing about online events. We can have poets from all sorts of different places all around the world. And this is a poet that I saw for the first time in our Mind Over Matter Rooftop Rhythm duet slam competition last week. And she was absolutely amazing. I think she was slamming with Woodsy, as far as I remember. So yeah, really looking forward to hearing what you have for us today, Danabelle.
Hi, everyone. Thank you to Mind Over Matter for having me tonight. I'm originally from the Philippines, and my poem is called Teaching My Lover How to Love in Filipino. In Tagalog, we have a verb called tahan. This means to cease crying. Tahanan is home, the place where you stop crying, where misery does not have a seat saved at the table, where love offers you a glass of water, rocks you back to comfort, to calm. So, darling, know that when I ask you to come home, I mean, give me your sadness. Let me dance with it in my arms until I lull it to sleep. I mean, my shoulders are your handkerchief. My lap is your lanai, and it may rain and the lights may go out, but we will be drenched in the dark together, decorating the stars with our fondest memories. Mahal in Tagalog, the word for love and expensive are the same thing. And it sounds like a joke, but really when I say minamahal kita, I mean I am lavishing you. My love is crowning you king. In Filipino, ibig is to mean, to want. Ibig is wood. Pag-ibig is love, and ibig sabihin is meaning. And all of this is just to say that when all languages have lost their meaning, when I tell you, tahan na sinta, dry your tears, darling. Sumuko sa pag-aarugang naghihintay sa iyong pag-uwi. Surrender to the care, the tender, waiting for you to return home. Nakahain ang pag-irog sa mesa, na kahit kailay, di mauubos, hindi man lalamig. Love is set out on the table, and it will never run out and never grow cold. Lover, when I tell you I love you, iniibig kita. What I mean to say is, I want to, I would, I mean, I am meant to. Thank you very much for listening to my poem.
Oh, that was really, really unique. You know, I really love the way that you managed to incorporate your language into that poem and really kind of teach us a very different perspective through that. Yeah, thank you so much. Very unique.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have another Mind Over Matter Connect workshop regular. So really happy to see you here. I may or may not have nudged him to join this open mic today, as I do every week, because I am a huge fan of his poetry. So welcome, Liam, everyone.
Hello, thank you. This was partly from the workshop we did yesterday. I had originally a poem and I changed it all again. So this is what this is. When the gates reopen and streets begin to flood with people again, and pubs fill with friends and families, and parks spill with the sound of summer, no one will be ready for me. Because, like a Baudelaire, my life has been a series of unfortunate events, and strangely, being locked up and shielded from my closest friends has killed the Olaf in me and injected my veins with a strength to cut the reins from my captor. No one will be ready for me, because I have molded myself organically into a bold new body, not the physical form, but the essence of its existence. I am in the midst of my evolution. I am nothing you have seen of me before. I am the loss of ego, but the discovery of confidence. And so, when I say no one will be ready for me, I mean that no one has known who I am today. And so long as I can help it, the only pandemic will be an infection of joy and of peace and of love and of song and of poetry and of culture and of political passion, because I am not limited to candy-flavored cadences. This is me, unafraid, unfiltered, speaking my truth, because I have spent too long inside these four walls. And so have had no choice but to find my voice, soft and dulcet at times and dripping with a hot fire at others. I am going to leave my door in these leafy suburbs of northwest London as soon as they shoot that gun and we go running. I'm going to love without shame, without fear, without pressure. I'm going to do everything I have ever wanted to, because I can count on 3 fingers how many countries I have been to: France, Poland, and Nepal, and I am appalled that I have let the fear lead me here, when the real horror is in stopping me boarding that plane, is in letting doubt stop me achieving my dreams, is in halting my whole life before a pandemic did it for me. So yes, when they reopen the gates, I will make this world my heaven on earth. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'm so glad that you also shared something from the workshop and that you have found that inspiring. So that's really beautiful. That was a really beautiful piece of hope, I think. Finding hope within yourself. Thank you for that. Okay, next up we have a poet from London. He is a flow poet, and as far as I remember, he also has his own podcast. So correct me if I'm wrong, Annotate, but I think you host a really good podcast. So yeah, welcome, Annotate. Are you here?
Yes, thank you for that introduction. Yeah, I'm here.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Now I can.
Okay, sorry, I just thought my internet was bugging there. But yeah, I do run a podcast called the Outspoken Podcast, so please do check it out when you get a chance. We've got a bunch of videos on YouTube and content on all other music platforms, SoundCloud, iTunes, etc. This poem I'm going to perform today is called The Ark. And it's a play on words. It's play on the idea of writing the story of the ark, and also, the ark, Noah's Ark. Anyway, here we go. I opted into the scene with my brain offering thoughts from a sane doctrine, a book that contains logic that tames nonsense, flawless with grave warning. Talks of a fire with flames constructed for sempiternal storage. Before it, people in swarms gathered on torn land to await horror or have their rewards honored. The Lord offers options that form orders. If followed, great plains wait without borders, new homes to earth's walkers, yet still compromising conformists live lawless and cut corners and live lawless, while determined tourists traverse cautious, conscious of being temporary performers sworn to disorder like zombie hordes are. Trauma destroys noble auras when misfortune causes mourners to mistake trials for torture. It's perspective that offers stories where humans prosper and flourish in glorious forms here. I seek horizons broader, Weathering storms with hope, good deeds recorded, ward off a heat far worse than saunas. Learn orators, warn of the soul's final quarters for worldly explorers who forward concerns of bodily death like morbid coroners. But I implore mercy, like repentant informers ripped of scripture, remorseful over their past that taken from the story of Jonah. Own your persona, watch these soul moroni concerns, induce comas, bad omens. We run from the cold corona, but still play with the fires to take owners. Phony, just own up. Ignorant donors have their lifeblood infected like lymphoma. Hold up, or lose sight like glaucoma. It's over when the body dies. Toner, watch jokers operate on dark nights. Sonar, remind myself it's no stress. Anyone else is a bonus. I'm focused in a world full of poisonous snakes. Cobra, firm as a rock, boulder, the Lord's soldier. I live through a God-inspired arc like Noah, luminous like supernova. Give doubters the cold shoulder. If they attempt to constrict like boa, I'll still elevate a Rona. I treat sticker burns like sporozoa. Opponents irritating like I can foam a rich soda. Pressing Coca-Cola still, I never fold. I'm bolder than conspiracies over the Rona. A composure holder with hope over being a garden home owner. It's simp sons that act dumb like Homer and lose sight of paradise is the motive. But notice, this life is short and temporary like false closure. So don't lose yourself in a world that's nothing more than a moment. Oh, that's it. It's a short piece today, man.
Oh my God, the flow. That flow is insane. Thank you for bringing the energy.
I appreciate it, man.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So yeah, make sure to check out the Outspoken podcast, you guys. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, there you go. Outspoken podcast. Next up, we have another performer from London, Patrick Evans. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name. Sorry, Evans. But yeah, Patrick Evans. And as far as I remember, I think I saw you in Chocolate Poetry Club last February. You were the headliner or something. Yeah, so that's where
I was. Yeah, a whole year ago now. Mad, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Yeah. And this is my first Mind Over Matter session, really. I've always wanted to do it in person, but here we are. Okay, right, here we go. This is a piece which is very akin to a lot of the pieces which we're writing right now, and it's called Breathe. I've never noticed eyes so bare, every vein and line and marble curve. My smile stays hidden with the lip that I've bitten. I see so free as you look back at me, protected from you for 4 more minutes. A shielded dream is all it can be. Looking, not staring, with the message we're sharing. The time ticks on till the stranger is gone. We spread a viral vibration, not a contamination. Can I look any longer? To stop would be wrong. An awkward gaze from left to right. The empty carriage chugs into the light. Face feels itchy, it's on too tight. A muffled inhale, too much to invite. Calmed again by that you and me and 2 meters between. I feel its coexistence with social distance, forgetting madness of keeping hands clean. All I can see is lonely eyes. All I can breathe is this disguise. Is this real? Can you decide if a brave new world can harmonize? All I can see is lonely eyes. All I can breathe is this disguise. Is this real? You decide. Take a step through the fog of coughs and cries and just breathe. Social plates underground instill their shifting and shake based hard with the fear they're lifting. Dismissed information deals dangerous drifting. This misinformation gives skeptics sifting. We're gifting all those powers that be with an is what it is and it won't affect me. Sitting on the tube, not knowing what's truth, while a beautiful stranger shows you how to breathe. Can your eyes help me to see our future safe from this ceremony of looking away from hidden beauty and believing everything I read? But let's not forget when the water was blue and celebrity dead, the frontline warriors still called low skilled, were the fame and glory that stopped the spread. Our vision alive, to learn from this is the least we can do for the tears we've shed. All I can see is lonely eyes. All I can breathe is this disguise. Is this real? Can you decide if a brave new world can harmonize? All I can see is lonely eyes. All I can breathe is this disguise. Is this real? You decide. Take a step through the fog of coughs and cries and just breathe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. I really love the line, all I can see is lonely eyes, and the repetition of that. It really hits hard during this time, right?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up on the open mic, we have another poet that I saw for the first time during our Rooftop Rhythm Mind Over Matter Slam collaboration last week, and she was absolutely amazing. They did a poem, I think, with Sammy Rhymes, who is also great, so check her out, guys. And that is Nabiha.
Hi, this poem is called Soul. I was always taught to count my blessings, but I grew up only counting what's missing, like this void in my soul that keeps reminding me I'm not whole, yet I keep convincing myself that maybe someday, somewhere, someone, somehow will make me feel soulful. No, I mean whole, whatever that means. I don't really know what it's supposed to mean, because if I have a soul, doesn't that mean I should feel whole? But I don't. I grew up being programmed to think that the word soul is connected to whole, just like it's somehow connected to mate, conditioned to believe that I will never be worthy of life until I find a soulmate who will make me feel worthy of life. I am not a missing piece of a puzzle. You see, it all started with the day he departed and left us unguarded until my mom became light-hearted, faint-hearted, half-hearted. I remember watching her at a distance with starry eyes ready to crawl into her wounds with needles trying to stitch the ruins while I stared at an outline of her silhouette, an outline of her body reduced from whole to half in eternal motion, outside itself broken, parted by wounds only she could crawl into. For years, I watched her find comfort in everything but me. She found warmth in prescription letters, while I found warmth on the cement locked outside her door, picturing how she parts her lips to only drag a cigarette, wanting to wipe her tears that couldn't help but fall, cupping my hands, imagining her eyes like pearls encasing me. I don't know if I started hating her for not loving me enough or still loving him too much. Long before puberty hit me, I still found warmth on the cement locked outside her door. I remember I could hear her whispering, I love yous. I think it was, I'm sorry. I don't know what I heard, but I know it was enough to make me learn she was hurting. I knew he was a mom's soulmate and mom wasn't dad's soulmate, but what mom did not know was that the search for love did not mean to search for the other 50% of herself. So I wrote him a letter. Hi, scratch, hello, scratch, dear dad, scratch, dear father. I am complete. I am not half. My jagged edges don't need to be smoothened. I don't want to be someone else's half. I don't want someone else to be my half. I will not be tamed. I am whole. Love, Nabiha, no scratch, love, your daughter. Thank you.
Oh, that was so powerful. So powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Wow, really beautiful. We're about halfway through the open mic, guys, and I think everyone is absolutely amazing. I'm just like writing little lines to use as inspiration later from your poems. I like to do that and then use them as like little poetry prompts sometimes for myself. Really recommend that for fellow poets. Really very inspiring. So next up we have George Lawrence.
Hey, thanks for having me. Man, yeah, I think this is the first time I've ever done Mind Over Matter digital, which is really great.
We can't see you, or at least I can't. Okay, there you go.
Cool. I'm allowed.
You're there.
This piece is called Aluminium Carpet. Another late night drinking loud spirits, and now the morning has an aluminium carpet that I kick. Just like the cans us kids use as footballs that will knock around the street trying to nutmeg each other. We are both hungover even though I didn't drink. And your voice sounds like shoveling gravel into a hollow pit that leads directly to the core as you proposition me to skip school, to tidy the mayhem you carried over into sobriety, in a room that still has the curtain drawn to conceal the world from your shame. And I obliged, because it was easier than me to either skipping school or walking into the lessons armed with a fake cough that will irritate and silence teachers. And I noticed that your thoughts are behind your skull rested uncomfortably as you're in a rush to get into work. A job title I didn't bother to a job title that I didn't even bother to remember as you wiped away my naivety. The same way you wiped away the white powder from your nose and closed the door behind you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone for listening. Really appreciate the space.
Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us for the first time at Mind Over Matter Digital. I know it's not the same and it's a little bit more like awkward, right, than like a normal event, but thank you so much for sharing with us. Okay, next up, we have another poet from United Arab Emirates, or at least based there. I'm not sure if you're from there, so correct me. And that is Salim Attas.
Hi, everyone. And yeah, I am from the United Arab Emirates. Thank you guys for doing this event. I've never done like an international digital open mic, and I don't think most people on the planet have. So I feel very, very honored to do this.
The lockdown is opening our eyes to new things.
Yeah, so it's funny that Finsky did a poem that was kind of based on the alphabet, because I also happen to have a poem that's kind of based on the alphabet. So this should be fun. Your abstract actions always asserted your animalistic attitude, adding alibis to your anarchistic alter ego. Bearing in mind bent bonds beloved by bitter beings being barricaded into barbed wire barriers for believing in a better yesterday. The captors carrying cruel intentions cross-county, cursed by the culprits caught caging the caring, demanding a different destiny due to a detox derived from the delusion of delicate destruction. Except each effort exceeded expectations, effectively eluding every elected freedom, feeling forgotten to fake friends and finding foes, falling for fire, flowing from fingertips, like granting entry to a green grass garden only to be given Gatorade for the haterade handed to the heavy-hearted heroes who held horrors and hearts of heartache, incapable of the idea of intelligence and idolizing an incomplete image of an ideal tomorrow. See, I could use the whole alphabet, but what am I really saying? Flashy words, kiddie pool deep, but I'm not playing. When you're little, dreams are such a big part of who you are. Like the least imaginative kid would shoot for the stars, and young poets believe there's no limit to their bars, speeding through slams and open mics like bumper cars. But what am I doing now? And who is it for? Do I have something to say, or is it all for the score? Maybe I'm just too happy. Maybe the price is too high. You pay for a poem in pain, and I can't always take that ride or die when we bleed. When a thought blooms from a seed, poisoned from your weeds, is the potion we don't really need. It is beautiful, I concede, but what emotions will it breed? Just breathe and tell me what you have to say. I will hold your hand and make sure you don't get lost in the way. Don't lose yourself to the fame. It wasn't yours to claim. Was it your ego growing, or the crowd scores to blame? The point is not the point. The point is the poem. Until you actually win a slam, and now you have to show them that you're the baddest on the planet. And you've been killing it since the seed of your thought was planted, leaving the crowd like, oh, what happened? You just dropped a classic. Now at this point, your influence, massive. Kids coming up to you all charged up and active, but you're the slam champ, so you gotta be cool and passive. Forgetting who the great one is, the unlucky bandit. I'm sorry, I lost track for a moment, but it's a habit. Because ego can kill you like it killed me, and that is tragic, because sometimes I still feel like the baddest poet alive, that I can set fire to your ideas and light up your minds. The heart tugs and sways to the rhythm of my beat. I have you dancing and grooving while you sit in your seat, right? because of that itch in your heart on your sleeve that only a pen can scratch. Write because you're trapped and you want to pick the latch, not for the girls and the hearts you'll snatch with assembly line poems batch by batch. Write the truth, but there is always a catch. You have to be vulnerable. I don't want you to forget that. Pain is a tool always knocking on your door, so ask yourself, what am I writing for? Thank you.
Well, pain is a tool always knocking on your door. I love that line. Love that line. Really powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, next up, we have a poet that I believe I'm going to be seeing for the first time, Arun Jito.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm going to read this poem today, which has a small trigger warning to reference to attempted suicide. So this poem is called Floating at the Surface. On a suburban Wednesday afternoon, when the cleaner takes her siesta, I finish my hourly bicep workout, tying a 45-pound plate to my ankle. I hold it in the stems of my forearms and walk out to the edge of the pool. I jump in the deep end of my pool, clutching the plate to my bare chest. But it's the cannonball-weighted solitude that pulls me to the bottom. This is not a textbook depression. I stay within the lines of my box. Top of all my classes and captain of a football team that always wins. I yell underwater because no one knows that I'm alone in my mind. And I felt like this since I was 15. The rope unties itself from the weight, and I'm now floating at the surface, letting the loneliness go. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Really, really beautiful. And thank you for including the trigger warning, of course. I really love the line, I yell underwater. Love that part of the piece. Thank you. All right, next up we have Rohan Samuel, and he also performed on the open mic for our Rooftop Rhythms Mind Over Matter collaboration. So you guys might remember him from there. He's a spoken word artist and also a workshop facilitator.
Hey, you all right? How's everyone doing today? I've got a poem. I'm just going to play with some words. So this piece is called Illiterate Alliteration. I want everyone here to sit on my tongue. Don't think so sexual. I'm just going to twist my tongue so these lyrics can be devoured by your very taste buds. Let these twisted words bud and bloom until we can all taste the room. I want to tantalize and be tickled textures till they taste like tears trickling thoughtfully through tear ducts transmitted to transcendent travelers to tell truths. Have my poetry portray personas personified poignantly past punctuations, permeating people's peripheral pupils, pointing perplexity past perspex poetry. If you've heard my poetry, then you've unraveled a piece of my mind. It speaks soft, soothing sounds, sometimes subtle, sometimes savage, sometimes sinful. So seduction sentences seem somewhat subdued, shoving some serious scenarios shrouded seamlessly, schemes stitched so soulfully. I wish I could stitch up my life the same way. Waves weaving woefully with whimsical whispers which will wash whims whilst worries waft wondrously with witch and wizardry. What, where, when, who, why is my mind filled with the feeling of a carousel of coarse corpuscular chemistries, channeling capital capability, cocoon creases, crumble creativity, creeping crudely because creativity can capture combustible confetti colors coherently, like blowing up a unicorn under unanimous, unadulterated, unpresidential uniqueness, unequivocal uniforms, unpredictable, unconscious ultralights, underlying universal uprisings under unlocked umbrellas. And with one key, I can unlock an epiphany of dreams, dedicated diligently, discarding dissected darkness, defensive designs, develop deep discussion, definitive definitions, dictate direction, devouring dawn's desire, due dates deliciously. However, lately, I've been left at the crossroad, no traffic light. So I don't know how to cross roads righteously, restarts, rewrites, repetition of rings from rivers, red raw, rampant rhymes roam religiously round, regarded realms, revisited, revised, rumors rendered, redundant, remorse reshaped, rectifying, reunited, refugee, rewritten, ripping restrictions, replacing rationality. So an open mind is what is needed for doors to open. Otherwise, ominous omens of overcast obituaries overflow oceans outwardly, organizing opinions, offering ourselves organic optional objects, omnipotently objectifying artificial opus one's obligatory ownership. So clearly I must own this because my poetry is an extension of myself. Maleficent, magnificent manner magnified my mountainous mental maps, mixing marketable memories melodically, mastering motivational measures, meeting magazine machine messages, mainly manipulating modified marijuana mist. However, if I sit in a mist for days in a daze, will I stray or manifest in the person I should become? Beings battling beings, becoming beneficially better, breakthrough box backed by bad beginnings. Biological brightness, boycotting bankrupt behaviors, boundaries, balancing believable beliefs biblically. Until my mind queefs with questions, querying qualified quest cues, quickly quoting quality quantum quirks, quintessentially quiet quilted quadriceps quiver quadraphonically quandaries quantifiably. What I'm saying is that I want my poetry to articulate advanced ability, adjusting accurate annotations acutely angled, anointing archived archaic artistry and advancing artistic achievements alongside addictive applications that acknowledging active amygdala attributes. Enable excitement at the evolution of my poetry, expedition, expanding exquisite eloquence, exhibiting elastic exhaustion, establishing eclectic enchantment, emphatically editing ego, engineering effective equilibrium, encouraging educational elements, exploding experimental electrons, enhancing eligible equations earnestly. For this will result in me being the best version of me. And I can leave this world knowing the imprints I left behind were from fingertips of truth, forcibly fracturing frivolous fragility, fruitful foresight fielding facts for fever-fueled fakers, factorizing faced-up fabrics filling fraudulent festivals, familiar faculties facilitating followers following functional frequencies, fearless final fingerprints framing future finding, fertilizing failing federations, federations feeding factories, faithful fighting freedom, fruit for firefighters, fundamentally farmers for fewer failures, feed further fellowship, forever feeling flexibly fantastic. Finished. That's me. Thank you.
Oh my God, that was so incredible. That alliteration. Oh my God.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for bringing that flow and that energy and that kind of seductive quality to your poetry. Really, really beautiful.
No one's ever said that. Cheers.
Yeah, you have like a very like seductive flow in a way, you know? It's like calm, but at the same time really flowy, really cool.
I
Really
appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, next up on the open mic, we have another workshop regular, and I absolutely love her poetry. And she also very often comes to our open mic that we do on Instagram Live. So thank you for coming here again and sharing your poetry with us, Zahra.
Thanks so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. Just a big shout out to the Mind Over Matter team for kind of holding this night and doing so much for the community. It's really, really meaningful. Okay. So if someone told you to open up your mind, I wonder just what we'd find. If all our musings and our memories were spread out onto a page, if all our inner passions and our fears were free from their cage, if all the love that we hold so dear and all the darkness and all the rage were carved into the earth, tattooed onto the dirt, the pain that we conceal and the plastered up hurt, the days we spend indoors and the comfort of silence relearnt, what would we see? I'd see a cyclical pattern of peaks and troughs, like energy and happiness is switched on and off, tampered with and thrown onto the rocks, hit by the crashing tide or the gentle breeze so soft. The nature of my mood wired into a box, the voltage too high, the surge of panic attacks and shock, the suddenness with which my mania strikes, like a lightning bolt focused on me from the sky, like my whole life is a child playing Operation, but they keep buzzing all the metal bits on purpose. Sirens sound in my head, the anxiety rises, I can feel it in my legs, the rush of power, I feel inspired, I can feel it in my chest, it makes me think I need to run, I need to go, I need to do something. Anything. 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 But all that does outwardly is lead to conversations going at 100 miles per hour. I'm bouncing off the walls, standing on chairs in cafes tall, phone call after phone call, an urgency to do things, feeling constantly on edge, signing up to a million societies, taking a charity pledge, the toxic state of conversations with my parents, everything leading to an explosive argument and tears wept. Truly, it feels like highs and lows, but both episodes are dark times plagued with an itching to roam. Depression calls its listeners to disappear, fading into nothings, matching their capabilities and sense of worth, while manic episodes demand that we inherit the earth, an energy unlike anything else is birthed, that we seize every opportunity without thinking it through first. But this fleeting high gives way to an unstable path of recklessness and panic. In hopeless anticipation, I wait for that inevitable surge, the natural caffeinated kick in my brain telling me that home time has come early again. But the part about it all which hurt the most was that no one else was seeing what I was seeing. With rose-tinted glasses and an unending feel of hope, over-inspired and unable to cope, reality hit like a knife in the back, reminding me of the sense of calm that I lacked. So I pressed pause on my degree and thought to fix up for a year. And now I'm back on my feet. The clutter in my mind is finally clear. I can take a step back from it all and look on as an observer and say that there is calm after the passing of the storms and a day when it will all be over. But when you're in the belly of the beast, anxiety closing in from every direction, it can be so easy to let hope cease. But ride it out until you're standing on that shore and the crashing tides no longer bother you anymore. So if someone told you to open up your mind, I wonder just what we'd find. Let the calming sight of the setting sun guide you home, and may you find peace within your bones. These throbbing pulses within our veins remind us that we are human and the vastness of the emotion which we contain.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for that poem. I think that is one of my favorite pieces of yours, and I loved hearing it again because I have heard that one before. Really love
Thank you
that.
so much for having me. If you want to see more of my work, I'm on Instagram at Zahra Writes Poems. Thanks so much.
Yeah. You guys should definitely check out her Instagram because a lot of her poetry is as stunning as this piece. All right, next up, we have a poet that I think I'm seeing for the first time tonight. So love seeing some people for the first time for me. And that is Rebel Rhythmic.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for this space and for the other poets. It's been great listening in. I'll get straight into it. This is titled Needs to Be Said. It was recently removed from Instagram. I don't know why, but yeah, I suppose you can make your own minds up about that. But anyway, I hope this don't get me in any trouble, because what I'm gonna say will probably burst a few bubbles. Because if you're a person who believes mainstream media and you don't know about the elite's connection towards paedophilia, then you're beginning to get on my fucking nerves, and your freedom and liberty you don't fucking deserve. So don't complain to me when it's too fucking late, because it was your ignorance they abused while they were plotting our fate, allowing your emotions to be turned into resentment and hate. And now the battle of Megiddo is assigned and sealed date. So from this moment, the wise are preparing for the worst, and the wise can identify between a blessing and a curse, and sense the coming of the day when the last will be first. So please stop listening now if you don't want your bubble to be burst, because no longer will I stand in silence and bite my tongue. And it starts by speaking out about the role of the elders of Zion and the rest of the think tanks that aim to trick the people into complying, so they can create a world that's evolved around deception and lying, and bring forth the new world order from the horizon. So don't ignore the signs that the creator is supplying, because you're supposed to keep fighting and you're supposed to keep trying, even when you feel like fucking dying. Truth provided via my rhyming rhythmic styling. Now back to exposing the ones who are insistently imposing the dictatorial direction of the fraudulently chosen. the ones who conjure up fake fear to keep us all in a state of frozen animation, where we all sleepwalk into our own damnation, herded like sheep by politicians with a secret Freemason persuasion, who have aligned themselves with the works of Satan and formed an unholy demonic association, where every global nation teaches its citizens the same brainwashed bias indoctrination to accept the genetically transformation mutation, accompanied by a strange narcissistic fixation. Every human being a walking, talking manifestation, willing participants of the Illuminati's initiation to come out of the shadows while you're in a state of desperation. So we are more inclined to accept their invitation to join in on the progression and continuation of the fourth industrial revolution, and finally perform Agenda 21, the final solution. So beware of the rumors, lies, and optical illusions, because the next card up their sleeve will bring forth another level of confusion. Project Bluebeam, the code name that they're using, the world populace reduced to their suiting, a one world system with Lucifer, the god of their choosing, nobody resisting or refusing, nobody disputing, just a world of soulless humanoids, following the warped philosophy of Sigmund Freud, fulfilling the directions left by Albert Pike, awaiting the morning star to pierce through the night. So I prepare myself for the role in the fight, the final battle of the dark versus the light. And I realize the reality that lies ahead. Turn off the TV and don't believe what the politicians have said. And don't forget that they like to fuck pigheads. And we trust these madheads with thermonuclear warheads. And we allow them to get away with corruption and bloodshed, giving them permission to control our overheads and conduct experimentation upon our capillary beds, not questioning the propaganda or fake news that they spread, ignoring facts and choosing lies instead. What more needs to be said? What more do they need to do before you realize they're stealing your fucking life from you?
Thank you for sharing that with us. And I think a lot of people will find these topics really important, especially now. So thank you for sharing that. All right, guys, we have 3 more open micers left. So I hope you will stay with us till the end to see some more incredible talent. And next up, we have Hannah Daisy. Daisy, I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry.
Daisy, you got it right first time.
Awesome.
Thank you. Hello. This poem came to me when I was lying in bed, beating myself up for all of the creative projects that I've started but not finished. Apparently, as a kid, I got diagnosed with ADHD. I don't know for certain. I wasn't really paying attention. You see, I find it hard to concentrate on stuff that doesn't really hold much weight. It's not that I'm unintelligent, more of a genius who just finds lots of stuff irrelevant and boring. I have infinite ideas, but for each of my ideas, I have infinite fears, so I get trapped between my ears, between reality and potential. One is finite, the other exponential, but I can't move. I'm a master procrastinator, serial Tinder dater. If a job's worth doing, I'll come back to it later. I start a lot of projects that ain't never gonna finish. My enthusiasm for them starts to diminish. It's a wonder I finished this poem at all. Thank you. Actually, that was in jest. But there were 2 weeks between that last line and finishing the rest. I'm not exactly happy with it. It could be much better. But the irony of not finishing it was just way too meta. Try Ritalin, they said. A prescription meant to declutter your head. They didn't tell me I would not be able to go to bed. My whole body had a permanent erection. I spent 4 hours alphabetizing someone else's DVD collection, robotically doing something pointless for someone I didn't even know. It was like being back at my corporate job, but this time while snorting blow. Well, apparently taking meth to work or study is now the norm. Well, then apparently Ritalin is just capitalism in pill form. I confess, I want success so I can impress and progress. My bedroom did get very tidy. But wait, I digress. For what I gained in productivity, I lost in creativity. And I'd rather hold on to that and let the rest be a mess. If something requires that much effort, it's probably not your jam. And so what if you lack the focus to pass a maths exam? We got calculators anyway. Fuck that bit up, never mind. The world needs creatives to unfuck it a bit. The problem then is getting them to get the fuck on with it. Well, I finally finished this poem and I feel proud of myself until I think about that half-written book that's not yet on my shelf.
Oh my God, I absolutely love that poem. Resonated with me so much. And I think a lot of people that either have been diagnosed with ADHD or have ADHD tendencies are going to listen to that and be like, yes, someone understands me. Amazing piece. Really love that. Thank you for sharing. Next up, we have a poet that I really, really adore, and she also performed during our Mind Over Matter and Rooftop Rhythms collaboration last week. So great to see a lot of you guys from that night here today. Welcome, Nilofer Nova.
Hi, everyone. Anna, you always are so kind with your introductions, honestly.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for hosting such a lovely space alongside Fisky. So yeah, I'll get straight into it. This is untitled. Ego is not your friend. Let go. Marrakesh, Tokyo, Istanbul, Seychelles, Thailand, pick a destination, let's go. What's the new normal for the days ahead? Far too many lessons learnt already and tired of teaching them. There is a need for a new classroom. The soul that has been circling the cage is now ready to break free. Consequences unknown, destinations undetermined, balance. Overthinking is not your friend. Let go. Make a new home, leaving the old one, comfort versus adventure, inspirational quotes and motivation tick lists. I don't want any of it. Keep scrolling. You know this already. Don't worry about it. Emotions flooded, corneas bleeding, body aching, tired, but restless all at the same time. Don't want to be stuck, but don't want to move. What's the purpose? Pursuits of happiness. And that happy place, we are told, is just an illusion. It's the misconception of aspiration. The goal is contentment. The fight is not lost. Am I an echo or am I a ghost? Maybe it's to lose control, reckless abandon, irresponsible to everything and anything that I don't want. Goodbye to all those that don't serve. Scared to hope, scared to feel. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's okay not to know. Maybe. Everything is either an irritation or distraction. It's easier said than done, always starting from scratch, being the bigger person and picking up the pieces, absorbing the lessons and moving forward. There's a fine line for creatures whose natural instinct is to move sideways. Feelings take up too much room to be efficient, knowing I want love but scared of what loving someone brings. Wounds starting to heal but leaving deep visible scars. You always know what to do, what to say. I help so many overcome their demons, but who helps me with mine? I'm a healer who can't be healed. I'm living in a world where people struggle to give me the consistency I need. I hate that people can't be straightforward up front. See my analog emotions in a digital landscape of voices, blue skies tell lies. Have I silenced my cries or am I just numb? Where are the vivid colours, the music breaks, the chorus, the beat drop, Orion's belt, colours above our heads? Ties that bind have power over you, even after the knots get untied. That's the part they don't tell you, see. Self-help books are a human attempt to write an instruction manual just to function in the midst of what we don't actually have a clue about. Intimate kisses with the light, hiding in the shadows in case the darkness tries to infiltrate. I'm still here. I've grown to be this way. The past is not your friend. Let go. Glass water drops of chaotic melodies makes no sense, and I love it that way. Swallow my fears, forget the years, keep playing the chords. But when is it going to get easier? Mind over matter? What does it matter anyway? You have to meet yourself again and again, because sometimes you have to realize you have changed without even realizing it. And you have become this person you now have to accept and not ignore. Your shape has shifted, your smile has changed, your eyes have seen more and ears heard more, feet have walked more miles. This moment will never return, and there's nothing you can do about it. Get to know you. Learn to like you, become your own best friend, your own cheerleader, your own protector, and then shed that skin and renew. The story starts again when the page turns. The next chapter is always around the corner. Talk about it. Let it go. Feel it, let it go. Process it, let it go. See, because nothing is permanent. The to-do list, the brain dump, the reload, reinvention of the circumstances you find yourself in. You can change them, make a choice. Those that didn't fight for you don't deserve you, and that's okay. I can only be honest. Truth is not always popular, but the light will only heal if you allow it to pour into your deepest wounds. I am the chip in the teacup. I am the crack in the expensive vase. I am the scuff on your new shoes, the food stain on your crisp white shirt. I am the imperfect. I am the beautiful truth. There is nothing left to hide. Push it aside, let it go. Not everyone desires the long haul, but then they're never going to reap the rewards. Travel is never a waste, even if you only get to see one new thing. Who wants to keep walking in the same roads anyway? Make a new routine. Every day I fall a little further into my own world. I want to keep falling until someone catches me or doesn't, and that's fine. Let it go. Other people's agendas are toxic. Put on that soul music. Turn the speakers up. This is your song. Thank you.
Oh, so many beautiful lines in there. And I love it that you kind of normalize like not knowing, because actually, you know, who knows what we should be doing, where we should be going. Great. Thank you so much for that. Also, if you guys are interested, Nilofer Nova is going to be our next radio guest. We have a Mind Over Matter radio show, which is every third Sunday of each month, and she is our next guest. So please tune in. It's going to be on Mode FM, but we're going to let you know all the details closer to the date. And so, yeah, if you want to stay on top of that, then just follow our Instagram page, because that's where we post everything that's currently happening. But yeah, just letting you guys know. So we are down to our last open micer, and this is also a member of the Mind Over Matter team, the wonderful Bexy Bex.
Hello.
Oh.
Good evening, good evening. My name is Bexy Bex. I'm going to do a piece. It's kind of about how like everyone has their own nature, and no one asks you to like, so like sometimes I get overwhelmed and I'm stuck in this realm where I want you to know everything that I'm thinking and feeling, but without me having to say anything at all. But then my confidence starts to fall, and then anxiety tends to do this really annoying thing where it wants nothing but privacy, to the point where at times I'm so closed off that I won't even let my breath get inside of me. My lung capacity has no safe space for meditation. All my thoughts are misplaced. Breath tongue-tied, it makes my veins itch. My waters are uncalm. I'm harmed by my own peace. I can't sleep. There's a piece of me that still floats just above my waterbed, loosely trapped inside the reefs. Like I want to change, but then I feel like I don't have to, because like when it comes to nature, is the rain ever taught to be someone that it's not? Is the wind ever told, could you maybe smile more or blow with a little more energy? Is intensity ever asked of the clouds? Are birds required to sing their song a little louder than they already are? Dear sun, I mean, you're perfect. It's just, we're looking for a little bit more of that je ne sais quoi. How far can stars travel in these skies before you can no longer see their shine? Because I know mine are buried in this body that makes shallow of deep sea waters, and authors, they make fiction of my narratives, but it's imperative that you can still see me through my flaws, and that I can still hear you over yours, because who am I without you? What does life amount to if I'm constantly changing, but my bills, they are never asked to bend? I'm indebted to these invisible wolves that transfer these likes for currency. We transfer their bites for money trees, shaped like those dreams that I always seem to forget as soon as the morning meets my eyes. where the river lies. I wonder if the mud is ever coerced into being just a little bit more sticky. How busy are the bees kept when they are making honey for themselves? Are they even aware that they are replenishing market shelves? Do their thoughts ever delve into where their excess leads into? Bamboo. Is it ever mistaken for sugarcane? Are false accusations made of coconuts? Is there an openness requested of the Venus flytrap? How exact is the science that demands consistency from the centipede? And what about lava? Is it agreed silently that he should become butterfly and not moth underneath the moss? Does there lie grasshoppers with no legs, just wings? Are dolphins ever encouraged not to sing? Don't get me wrong, they do have an ultrasound, but no one is aroused by their looks. Are they ever positioned to switch it up a little? How brittle are the laws of photosynthesis? Is there an applause for bluebells that are more violet than they are violent? Do we praise quicksand for sticking to its guns? Can I run without being followed? Have I swallowed a voice box that can no longer be heard at a canine's pitch? Because I exist without pressure from these waves. Can the echo of a cave be the depth with which I breathe? Must I heave at every hurdle? Can I not just walk with ease? I mean, how quickly are the trees asked to shed all of their autumn leaves? I mean, I feel like I want to change because of depression, but at the same time, is it even a question? Like, some things can just exist. Is it my nature or Mother Nature? That's the question.
Wow. As always, beautiful imagery. And I also love the way that you start your pieces in a way that you kind of don't know that the poem is starting. And then you're like, oh, that's already the piece. It's not the intro. And then you kind of intertwine it with little bits and pieces that seem like you're talking to us. And then you kind of go back into all that poetic imagery. So really, really unique style. Yeah. Okay, so on that note, we have come to the end of our open mic. So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for anyone that watched our YouTube stream, and thank you to all the beautiful performers. That was so diverse, and everyone has such a unique voice, and everyone talks about different things. So I think you can really get a lot out of listening to all these different poems. But before we go, I'm just going to plug a few things, just kind of give a few mind over matter announcements. So first of all, it would mean a lot to us if you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's really important to us because we're trying to grow our audience and try monetizing our YouTube channel. So these subscriptions are really important to us. And if you want to stay on top of all the things that we do, then please also follow our Instagram page, Mind Over Matter LDN. And then you'll be kind of up to date with all the different things that we do. As always, we have our Mind Over Matter Connect workshop facilitated by me every Monday, 7 p.m. UK time, and that's on Zoom. And that's basically a workshop where we do different mindfulness exercises, we meditate, and we also reflect on different themes. We do some free writing, some poetry writing, but you don't have to be a poet to join. You can draw or just journal during the workshop. So it's for anyone really. And we also have this open mic every Tuesday, 7 p.m. UK time. So for the past few weeks, we had it on Instagram Live. Now we had it on Zoom. So we're just kind of experimenting with the form. But it is going to stay every Tuesday, 7 p.m. So if you follow our Instagram page, then you should be up to date with where it's happening on what week. And yeah, I think that's all I have to plug for you guys today. So thank you so much for joining us and for this beautiful evening. And I hope you join us again.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Richard.